Oh, great. I see that there are some people jumping on. This is a truly 100% impromptu Facebook Live. Just giving you a heads up, there is not a stamping or paper crafting demonstration, but today I'm going to tell my story. It's been a really busy start to 2022. Of course, with Stampin' Up! Business, you know that our new mini catalog launched with hundreds of fabulous new products to share. We have our big annual promotion happening, celebration. So I'm, working on helping people get great value for their purchases and earn some free products. I've had a couple of people join my team, and of course, I'm always looking for more people to join my Merry Stampers team. Planning a wedding with my daughter and future son-in-law. That's going to happen end of June. 5 months. Oh gosh. Actually, Andrea texted me just a little while ago that her dress and veil came in today. So we're excited about that. And her fiance found out he got a new job today. So lots of good things happening. And of course, we're looking forward to Emily graduating from the University of Cincinnati with her doctorate in physical therapy in April. We've got a bridal shower in March, just so much happening. But on top of this, as I work my Stampin' Up! Business and I live my life, I'm single now as of about 4 years ago. I'm always trying to just better my best, be a better person than I was the day before, be a better sister and mother and even ex than I was the day before. Just trying to better my business, share a little more with customers and team members and help them in any way that I can. In addition to everything, and part of that is learning new things. So I've invested in doing some training with a direct selling expert, Brenda Sturr. Some of you may have heard of her. And it's not training for just Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. It's for direct sellers of all kinds. I mean, some of the businesses I hear about, I'm familiar with, and others are completely new to me, have never heard of them before. But we all have the commonality of working in direct sales, working with customers, educating people, training people, building our team, etc. And I've been with some of her training before and liked it, but I felt like I never really invested in it the way I should have in terms of my time and my energy. Doing all the homework, doing all the master classes, that sort of thing. So this year, well, probably since November, I've made a really conscious effort to do that. And that's part of the reason I've switched my Monday Facebook Lives from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. because I want to take part in that training as it happens. Well, this week she just happens to have a free training program open to anybody, not those of us just in her program, but to anybody, our team members, anybody in direct sales or somebody who owns a small business, whatever. And it's all about what she calls sponsoring, which basically is team building. When we sponsor other people, we are working to build our team. And as we were going through the training yesterday and today, and you hear so much from the other hundreds of people who are doing the training also. And I just got to thinking, I don't know that people really know the story of how I got into Stampin' Up. So that's what I'm sharing with you today. I'm not sharing a project with you. I'm not sharing a technique. I'm just kind of opening myself up and making myself a little vulnerable and sharing some personal things and why I got into Stampin' Up, because I think many of you don't know the story. I think many of you know that I am a business builder. I do Stampin' Up as a full-time job. And I really, really love it. Other than being a mom, it is the best job I've ever had. But I never intended to build a business. Not at all. Not at all. I was an elementary school teacher until I got married, and Peter and I had our first child after about a year and a half afterwards of getting married. And he was in the Navy at the time and practicing as a physician. And he finished his time with the Navy, did his residency, fellowship, that sort of thing, and became a practicing radiologist. And so after we had our second child and he was into private practice with another group, I became a stay-at-home mom. I was the homemaker. I basically ran the household and the family while he was the career person. And we had built, we had a nice home. I'll say we lived comfortably. And somebody asked me, did I want to be in a stamp club? In fact, I was getting my nails done, and it was the nail technician asked me if I wanted to be in a stamp club. And I said, a stamp club? What is that? And I've always been crafty. Even as a little girl, I always was crafty. But I had never heard of Stampin' Up. And this woman explained what it was, and she said, well, there was somebody in the community, a new Stampin' Up demonstrator who wanted to get a group of 12 people together. We would meet once a month. She would teach us stamping. We'd make cards. And then for that, in exchange for these free projects and the teaching, we would place a minimum order. So I said, well, sure. My kids were in school. We had a nice home. I painted the home and decorated and and I even had thought just a couple months before then, okay, I need to find something new to do. If I'm going to continue to be a stay-at-home mom and school volunteer, I need to find something else for me. It's not enough to just paint another room in the house. So I thought, okay, maybe, I'll just learn this new hobby, do this new hobby, meet some new people. It was great. We ended up in that time that I was learning to stamp with these women who were lots of fun. I looked forward to it all the time. And we had just sold that house and we were moving into an apartment and getting ready to build our dream home. As it turns out, Susie Brunk, who's still a dear friend and my upline today, when I looked up her address, she lived about a quarter of a mile down the road from where we were going to build our house. So I went to Stamp Club, loved it, was having so much fun, got hooked right away. I mean, I was loving this. I was buying stamps, I was buying ink, I was buying cardstock. I wanted it all. And I would sit in our apartment in the evenings. It's just a little 2-bedroom apartment. And I would, after the kids went to bed, I would sit at the table and I would stamp cards, Christmas cards, what have you. And then I'd place another order. And Susie would say, you really ought to join. And no, I am not joining. I'm not a business person. I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to be. I know nothing about marketing. No, I'm not joining. And that went on for probably a year and a half, almost 2 years. And every once in a while, again, I'd place a big order and Susie would ask again, and I'd say no again, and I'd have a different excuse. Susie, I can't. We're living in this apartment. I don't even have that much space. What would I do? I'll think about it later when we move to our house. The house came and then I had to come up with a new excuse. Well, Andrea would be graduating a little while. I didn't want that to interfere. I always had a reason not to, but yet I loved stamping. I loved everything about it. So I don't know why on this particular day, but when she asked me again on August 18th of what was it, 2008. Or didn't ask me, basically said to me, Mary, you keep placing these big orders. You really need to join. So I thought, okay, Susie, I'm going to join. And I told her, I'm not going to do anything with this either. And I thought, I don't even have to explain it to her. I just said, sure, I'll join. Well, of course, I kept spending the same. And because now I was saving money, getting a discount, I was buying even more product. And one day, Emily came home from school. She was, I don't know, maybe 11 or so at the time. And in this house, I wanted two things when we built our dream house. I wanted a double oven, and I wanted my own craft room, a space where I could leave things out, have all my stuff, and it didn't interfere with sitting down at the dinner table or interfere with the family space. And I got that. But Emily came home from school and into the craft room, because that's always where I was. And she was like, Mom, if you're going to keep making stuff, you have to start selling stuff. Well, my thought was selling cards, maybe doing a craft show here and there. But I thought, well, maybe the kid's right. So I did it. And I had decided, maybe others would like to learn to do this. I was a teacher before. I could show them how. We had the space for me to set up little like class stamping studio classroom space. And that's what I did. And I can't tell you how many classes I had, and I might have one person, two, maybe three if I was really lucky. And this went on for a couple of months, and I was having fun. But again, I thought, I'm going to leave this at some point. I'm not doing this forever. Well, then things began to build. Somebody called me. And I still would not consider myself a business person. I had some classes and I sold some product, but not a lot. I was never going to do this as a job. It was my hobby. But then somebody called me out of the blue. She found me online and asked me to be, what did she say? She asked if I would demonstrate and show Stampin' Up! Product at her crop, and maybe even do a make and take for her guests at the crop. Okay, now this is how little I knew. I thought I was pretty with crafting, but no. I had to ask Joyce, and some of you know her, Joyce Wilhelm from Oxford. I had to ask her what a crop was. And then when she told me, I was like, well, that's the craziest thing ever. These people pack up all their craft supplies, they take it to another place, and they pay to do it and do all their crafting there. To me, it just sounded like crazy. But I said, sure, I would do it. I think, what could it hurt? I'll meet some new people. Little did I know, and I did leave that day thinking those women were still crazy when I saw the amount of stuff they carted to this conference center at Miami University in Little Oxford, Ohio. But I had so much fun. And the ladies loved the make and takes. I did 2 different sessions, and there were consultants from other companies there. In fact, Rita Holmes, who has become a good friend and is on my Stampin' Up! Team, I believe she was there representing a different company. She maybe had, 3 or 4 different companies represented there. But I just had fun. I walked around meeting people. We had lunch. It just was a fun day. I went home. Peter asked me, how was it? I said it was really fun, and the ladies loved my make and take projects for them. And Joyce even asked if I would come back and do it for one of her events again. And I said, yes. But I said, Peter, these people are crazy. You would not believe the amount of stuff they bring to a crop to craft, and they pay good money to do it. And we kind of laughed about it, but honestly, that was a pivotal point, one of the earliest pivotal points in my Stampin' Up journey, I started getting calls. Did I have classes? Did I have catalogs? Some wanted to buy product that they had seen me use. So I decided, okay, I can do this. Again, never thinking this would become a full-time job for me, but I did it. I thought, opportunity knocks, you go with it. Somebody wants your help, you serve, right? That's just me. I've got a very giving personality. I love to share, and teaching was my thing. That was the great thing about being a school volunteer. I could use my teaching skills, even though I wasn't necessarily in a teaching role where I was earning a salary and that sort of thing. I could help in a different way, and I could use those teaching skills in a different way. And that brought me so much joy and so much personal, personal fulfillment, the things that kind of fill your heart and fill your soul. That did it for me. So I thought, okay, all of a sudden I started getting more people wanting to do classes. I remember sitting down at the dinner table one evening, and all four of us were there having dinner, and I was going to have a class that evening. And I said, I'm so excited. I have 6 people coming to my class today. It's the most ever. And my family was just like, good job, Mary. Way to go, Mom, but I could see their eyes. They're like, really? Is it that big of a deal? But it was a big deal to me because I saw that little bit of growth and it made me feel good. And then the next pivotal moment came. Again, I'm not a business person. I'm not a salesperson. I know nothing about marketing. This is just something I'm doing for fun. And I'm going to be real honest here and say, at that time, I didn't need the money. We lived very comfortably. We were in a great community with great schools for our girls. We had savings. We had worked really long and really hard for a lot of years before Peter got to that point in his career. And but that was not an issue for me. Whereas when the kids were really little, that was a concern. And I did take on some odd jobs when the girls were babies and watching other people's children, doing some sewing, whatever. But at that time in my life, it wasn't. So this was just all about fun. And my upline, and again, we became, she's one of my dearest friends today. So for that reason, especially, I'm very grateful. Susie never gave up on me. One thing I've learned in Stampin' Up, when people say no to you, are you interested in learning to stamp? Would you like to join my team? Would you like a catalog? One thing I've learned that if people tell me no, it's not personal. And just because no means no today doesn't mean it's no forever. So I'm so grateful that Susie, as my Stampin' Up demonstrator, and then eventually my upline, I'm glad she never gave up on me, that she saw something in me, that I was really excited about the product. And really, to her, all she was doing was trying to give me the most value for my money. She knew I could save a lot because I was already spending a lot. But this way, I'd at least get a discount. So I'm very grateful for that, but more so because we become lifelong friends. But anyways, Susie then started asking me, was taking me to meetings of the demonstrator group, that sort of thing. And she wanted me to go to Stampin' Up Events. And I said, Susie, I'm not going to Stampin' Up Events. Convention can be expensive. And I won't do that unless my business can pay for that. And it wasn't. And I thought, I'm not taking, even though money, we were comfortable, but I thought, I'm not using family money for something to me was just fun. going to Stampin' Up convention in Salt Lake City. Well, Andrea graduated, went off to college. Emily was growing, things were happening. And finally I thought, I do kind of want to see what it's all about. And it would be fun to go to a state I've never been to with Susie, who has now become a good friend. So I signed up to go to my first convention. As it turns out, I did not go to that. Susie could not go to that one. But I went with another friend, Kelly Skidmore, and she made sure I got the most fullest experience from the Stampin' Up convention. She had been to many, had gone for years and years and years. So that made it very nice. And I remember at that time, I want to say it was a 3 or 4 day event. But one evening was what they called awards night. And Kelly told me it's really fun. Even people who don't get an award like to go just because it's fun. People dress up, they get acknowledged on stage. You ought to go and see that, even though you're not being recognized for anything. Well, lo and behold, I actually was going to be recognized that year. My first time ever for something. I think it was, if I remember correctly, I want to say I had like $20,000 in sales that year. And that came from, of course, a lot of it, I'm sure, was my own purchases. But the rest came from me having those classes that I just enjoyed so much. And I remember, I think it was the second or third evening was awards night. Huge convention center in Salt Lake City. And at the time, I want to say they had maybe a couple thousand people there. I don't really remember, 2,000-3,000, something like that. And awards night started. They recognized people for a lot of different achievements. I was one of the people who got to, when they said 20,000 in sales, I got to go up and walk across stage and like wave like a celebrity. And that is so not me, but it was so fun. I thought, how cool is this? But as the night went on and people were being recognized for their sales, for their team building, for their leadership, for milestone achievements, things like that, I would sit there thinking, oh, I remember meeting her yesterday. Or, oh, I had lunch with her. She was at our lunch table on the first day. Or she was in that breakout class I was in. And as I sat there, I started thinking, oh my gosh, look at what these ladies are doing, and gentlemen, look what these people are doing. And you know what? And inside I'm thinking, and they're just like me. Just like me. Some are moms, some are married, some have children. Some came from across the country to be here. And we all had the same interest of stamping and paper crafting. And there just was so much excitement there. And I remember in that moment, and I mean, I feel chills right now saying this, because I remember in that moment being dressed up, sitting on that metal folding chair in this huge conference room in the Salt Lake City Convention Center, and thinking to myself, I think I want to do that. I think I can do that. After all, I'm just like them and they're just like me. We all love stamping. We all love Stampin' Up products. And it was actually those two things. Joyce Wilhelm calling me out of the blue, inviting me to a crop when I didn't even know what a crop was, and then attending my first convention and seeing what people were able to achieve simply by sharing this so-called hobby that we all loved so much. And the rest is history. And And I just felt like the need to share this today, going through the training program I've been doing. And I know some of you know my story. Some of you have been with me from the very start. The other thing is I never was going to build a team. And the reason I felt that was if I was going to build a team, I would take that as being a big responsibility. I would want to know how to serve them, to help them achieve whatever their goals are. And maybe their goals were going to be bigger than mine. And did I really have the knowledge and experience to help people in that way? And one thing I've learned about that is it's okay for me to learn that as I go. It's okay for me to learn and grow with my team members. And I'm very proud to say that my very first recruit ever, Tracy Darling, is celebrating, what is today, the 25th? Oh, I'll have to look it up. I think maybe the 27th of this month, later this week, is her 10th anniversary with Stampin' Up. And it's so exciting. I always tease her and say, you know, your claim to fame, Tracy, is that you were my very first recruit. You're my very first Mary Stamper team member. And then I say, well, and my claim to fame is that you're still with me. And we kind of laugh about it. But I just think it's important for people to know that. I've realized that people do see me as a business person. I was even on a Stampin' Up trip, and it was not my first excuse me. It was not the first incentive trip I earned. And I was talking with somebody from the home office, and I don't know how it came out, but I said, yeah, but I'm not a business builder. And she stopped me. She put her hand on my arm and she said, Mary, stop. You are a business builder. You are a salesperson. And I said, no, I'm not. And she said, look what you've achieved. You are here on this trip, and less than 1% of Stampin' Up demonstrators have earned this trip. And I was kind of like, well, gee, if a Stampin' Up bigwig is going to tell me that, yes, I am a business builder, maybe I should believe it too. And that has been so helpful to know that I have what it takes. I have the power in me to make that happen. It doesn't just happen by itself. So like I said, if you jumped on late and were hoping to see a stamping or paper craft project or technique or demonstration today, surprise, you're not seeing it. Really, my full intention of doing this impromptu Facebook Live was to share my story. I recently added 2 people to my team, Donna Bennett and Miriam Jennings. Both have been longtime customers of mine. They love Stampin' Up products. They love to craft. They do it a lot. But they really didn't know my story completely. And then as I was going through this training, even talking about sponsoring or / team building, I started thinking, you know, I love hearing how other people got into this business. I love learning how other people got into a different direct sales company, or how they became the person they are, or their family grew, or their moves, whatever. I love hearing people's story. I guess I like to connect with people on a personal level. And I thought, this is something I need to share with the people who support me and what I do. And I hope that I am serving you all well. I'm very proud of myself to say that even though I never had any intention of starting a business with Stampin' Up, I'm proud to say that I have. And who would have thunk, right? Because I never knew that I could love a job as much as I do. I never thought I could feel such appreciation in a job as this. Appreciation from my customers, from my team members, from the other demonstrators and followers and viewers I share with, and even from the Stampin' Up company. One thing that really struck me at that first convention, you know, they had the doors to the convention room closed. The halls of the convention center were filled with, think of this, thousands of, you know, giddy, excited people exchanging cards and talking Stampin' and couldn't wait to see what was going to happen. And then the doors open and people just rush in. And along each side of the area where we went into this big room in the convention center were people that were pulled from the home office and the distribution center for Stampin' Up. They weren't working their jobs that day. Their jobs were taken to the convention center. And there they were, clapping, high-fiving, hello, hugging, telling us thank you for being a demonstrator. Thank you for keeping them in jobs, because they can't do their job unless we're doing our job. And then I think, but I can't do my job if they're not doing their job. And the appreciation from the people all the way at the very top to the people who are packing the boxes and shipping, to the people that are answering our calls at Stampin' Up, and everybody in between. And it's so cool to belong to a company that really almost feels like more like a community or even a second family at times, because we all work together. And that's how I feel. I hope that's how I feel about my customers, my team, my followers, my fellow demonstrators. And I hope that you all feel how much I appreciate you. And I hope that you feel that we do work together. We do learn together. We do grow together, whether that be business-wise or simply in this wonderful craft. And to think it all began with stamps, ink, and paper. And we all share that love. And that's what all brings us together. So, oh gosh, how long I don't even know what time I got in. I'm sure it's way beyond the 20 minutes I thought it would take to tell my story. But I'm going to close now, and I'm simply going to say thank you for making a difference in my life. And I hope that I do make a difference in your life as well, because Stampin' Up really is, other than being a mom, Stampin' Up is the best job I've ever had. And I'm happy to be of service to you, whether that be through sharing techniques and projects through Facebook Lives or my blog, or to selling product to you, or having you join my team. Whatever I can do to be of service to you, it is my goal to do it well. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that. And I hope that it can be a little bit scary sharing your personal story with people. But I don't know why. Today I really felt this need to come on and do it live and put it out there for everybody. So thank you for listening and being a part of that. And I hope to see you all tomorrow right back here on Stampin' Peace with Mary Nabe at, what time do I have? 8 p.m. tomorrow. It's Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be live with a fun project for you. See you then. Bye-bye.